New video obtained shows the moments after Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. It comes from a neighbor's security camera. It shows Watts walk out of his home in Frederick, then backs his truck up in the driveway, parking it so a portion of the bed is in the garage. It also shows Watts walking around his truck and putting items inside, including a red gasoline can. Then Watts drives away from his home.
Today we're going to take you inside the mind of a killer, inside the mind of Chris Watts, who you just saw on surveillance calmly loading up his truck before driving off with the bodies of his dead family in the back. Now, who would commit such a heinous act? Well, we've called in experts who have dealt with hundreds of cases involving sociopaths, but they say none even come close to Chris Watts. Take a look.
The Chris Watts case is one of the most disturbing cases that I've ever seen.
Chris Watts is what we call a family annihilator. I haven't seen many cases like this because family annihilators usually commit suicide after the murders. Chris didn't do that. Chris is also a narcissist. He is the most important person in his world. And he's also a psychopath. And a narcissistic psychopath is a really bad combo.
How he just decided to erase his family. He threw him in the back of his pickup truck, drove him and threw his daughters into an oil bin, buried his wife in a shallow grave.
Chris, like most killers, is not terribly bright, which is why he was caught so fast.
Who was she supposed to go to?
When I saw Chris being interviewed, I said, wow.
When I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here.
This guy just gave away the farm. When he hugged himself and the shrugs, that's defensive. He pretty much just confessed to murdering his wife and children. I know that Dr. Phil has a background in criminal psychology, and I'd be very interested to see what he thinks.
Well, Candace DeLong is someone that I have tremendous respect for. She is a former FBI criminal profiler and criminologist. She also is the host of Investigation Discovery's Deadly Women. Now, Steve Corden is a former detective and author of a really important book that teaches women how to protect themselves. It's the new superpower for women. Candace, let me start with you. You saw this tape, you've seen some of his interviews. What did you see?
The interview he gave to the TV people on his porch, they did a close-in shot. His eyes were neither red nor swollen. This was not a man that had been up all night, worried and crying. Another thing that occurred to me, he says, yeah, when I came home, nobody was here. It was like a ghost town. It was a ghost town. He made it a ghost town by killing everyone else that lived there.
You bring up such an important point. Let's take a quick look at that little snippet.
It's like, it vanished. Like, she's not, like, when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. It's like, I have no idea, like, where they went.
This is a guy with 2 children and a pregnant wife, vanished. And he, like you say, there's no redness in his eyes. That is such a good point. He doesn't look like he is emoted at all.
Yeah, well, it's what I don't see that tells me something's wrong here.
I didn't see a wedding band. Has he already gotten rid of that?
Oh, I didn't look.
He also gave smiles and laughter that was completely improper. When he was talking about Bella, he says, she was. That's final as an investigator. That jumps out to me as he knows that she's already gone.
And people that are narcissistic and think they're getting away with something, it's called duping delight. They can't help but gloat when they think they're pulling the wool over your eyes.
He was celebrating his performance.
Yeah, and so let's take a look at this oil tank where the bodies were discovered. This is where he put his children.
Dr. Phil, I gotta
that
tell you
feeder
something.
trap is 8 inches wide. The width of those girls shoulder to shoulder is 9.5 inches. Now, I don't want to say this to be too graphic, but you have to understand the nature of the beast we're talking about here. He had to break their bones to get them in there.
And when they tried to lift the girls up, their skin came off.